Okay, so curvilinear motion, as the name suggests, in the same way, rectilinear motion is on a rectified path, in the linear path, which is a motion of an object on a straight line, and we took the motion of a car, the motion of a train, or a freely dropping object were an example of rectilinear motion. So curvilinear motion is the second one. The name simply suggests curvilinear motion is a motion along a curved path. Clear? Yeah, so can you give me an example for curvilinear motion? It's very practical, very simple. Please.
I think.
It's okay. You can try.
I think shooting a curveball.
It's okay. What? Shooting? The first word. I didn't hear the first word.
What? He said shooting a curveball.
The curveball. Okay. Okay, please.
Around the block.
Nice. What else? A bike. Look, when we say motion, the path is very important. I mean, the path followed by the object, which matters the most. If the path is straight line, curvilinear. Rectilinear motion. If the path is curved, curvilinear motion. The example very simple. Yes.
Those things is small chicken
Roundabout is an example. Very good. Roundabout, but not the full path. A car following some of the path. This is curved. Roundabout is a typical example of curvilinear motion because it follows a curved path. The path is curved, right? Simple. Please.
And the electric current. Why was that?
Possible, yeah. It's a curved path. If the path is curved, we call it curvilinear motion. For example, if I'm throwing this one, when I'm throwing it, it followed this kind of curved path.
No.
It followed the curved path, so it is curvilinear motion. Simple, please.
Another example would be shooting a basketball.
Yeah, shooting a basketball is a typical example. A person let me do okay, please. So, shooting a basketball, because the ball is following what kind of path?
A curvilinear path.
A curved path. So we call it curvilinear motion.
How many are in this class?
14 to 14.
6, 7, 8, 9,
How do you-
10, 11, 12, 14.
How do you?
6, 7, 8, yeah?
Yeah.
Is there anyone who brought the consent for the government books? The one I was
About
give it to me later on the day before you go to you. Send your parents telegram for it. It's in there. Print it out and use it. Parents telegram, yes.
Okay. So far we see two types of motion. The first is straight line motion, which we call it rectilinear motion. The second one is curvilinear motion. A motion along a curved path. We took an example. Roundabout is an when a car is rounding about. But before this roundabout, a car was actually following a straight path, which we call it?
Rectangle.
Nice, very good. And at this point, it reaches a square that it should actually roundabout. This roundabout is a kind of motion because the path followed by the object, the car, is a curved path. So a ball, a basketball shooting is also an example of curved path. So we call it curvilinear motion. I'm actually scoring.
What about shooting a ball?
Scoring, very nice. Yes.
What about shooting a ball?
But when the ball is dropping this way, what kind of motion is this? Rectilinear motion. So we can find two kinds of motion because when the ball is being thrown, it is following a curved path. But when I squat, it should go. But when it reaches here, the ball dribbles to and fro. It somehow vibrates, and this can be taken as vibratory motion because the ball is going to and fro. Okay, so now let's go to the third type of motion.
Which is?
Actually, there is circular motion. Here it is, circular motion. Circular motion is a curvilinear motion, but it is a complete circle. Curvilinear motion is some portion of a curve, but circular motion is the full circle. For example, the sun, the earth and the moon. The moon orbits the earth. So,
No, it's just, if it's a full circle, then where does the roundabout go to? Is it circular or curvy like?
the roundabout is curved because we are not having, if the roundabout, for example, you forget something and you just need to
Go again, yeah.
then in that case, it becomes a complete circle, it becomes circular motion. But if you somehow only curve this one and go, if this is the road, you're following straight line, it is rectilinear motion, and you round about this way in some small curve, curvilinear motion. But if you forget something and go back again and follow this path, it is. So circular motion is a special type of curvilinear motion in which the object forms a complete circle. Clear?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Please. I thought it was a question related to the motion. Actually, she's also moving. And the third one is rotary motion. We call it rotary motion. Rotary motion is a motion, of course, but it is similar to curvilinear and circular motion, but in this case, the object is following a motion along a fixed axis. The motion of the earth along its own axis. The motion of the earth, this is the earth. It looks like the earth, right? So, if the motion is along a fixed axis, actually this is imaginary axis, the northern and south pole, we call it rotary motion. What else? Can you give me an example?
What do you call rotary motion? Is it a motion? I'm sorry, is it what happens when rotary motion? Oh, sorry. What happens when rotary motion happens? I didn't get it. What happens when rotary motion? What is it? What is it? What's rotary motion?
It is rotary motion is rotational motion, but it is along a fixed axis. There should be an axis, imaginary axis, where the earth, for example, rotates around. We call it rotary motion.
Spinner? Spinner.
What is spinner?
Fidget spinner.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. If I have a spinner and if I have something to spin, actually because it has a fixed axis.
Yeah.
And as I go.
The opening of your water bottle, like when you open the water.
You need to have an axis actually.
It's a
It does make sense, but if there is an axis, if you have like vertical, if there is a vertical axis, it can be possible. I mean, it's good actually. How about it?
like the wheel of the car.
Nice. The wheel of a car. The wheel of a car because it has what? An axle which acts as an axis actually. So the motion is around this axle. So that's nice. Please.
Can I go to the bathroom? Okay, if I tell you one thing.
Please. Because we don't want him to, you know,
What? Make it motion.
see him on the notice also. That's why.
Just like this. You know,
As a typical example can be
A merry-go-round. A merry-go-round.
what?
It's like this thing that kids
Yeah.
It's like
I just need one answer, please. Can you tell me? Can you explain that, please?
You find it in a festive place, like it's where kids play. And there are like
anywhere.
in school, yeah. There's like a big horse or something.
Okay, so you sit and
Yeah.
okay, yeah, because there is actually a fixed axis. Nice. Okay, another example can be a watch. You know the analog watch. The analog watch. This one. Because the minute hand or the second hand is moving on a fixed axis. So because of this, it is called rotary motion. Okay. So let's go to the fourth one. The last one is fourth is vibratory.
I think vibration.
So the name actually is self-explaining. Vibratory motion is a motion, or we call it a to and fro motion, is a vibration actually, it's a result of vibration. So the particle followed a path to and fro. So vibratory motion is also called a to and a fro motion because it is going forward and backward motion. And you can give me a lot of examples for this. I'm expecting from you, please. Please, yeah. Vibrating a ruler actually. So if there is a table here, and if you have a ruler and if you apply force, then it vibrates actually in this manner. So there is to and fro motion. I just need as many hands as possible. I just need all of you to raise your hand because this is simple and basic actually. You have to know the 4 types of motion. This line is actually the quietest. Left and right, active. So one of you should. Can you please? Baro, can you give me one example of vibratory motion that you know in life? Any example that you remember or you know as a vibratory motion or something which vibrates? Please, Baro. Bell, very good. Bell actually vibrates to produce that sound. Nice. So now let me go to the right wing at the back, please.
When a coin falls.
When you?
When a coin falls.
Yeah, yeah. So it somehow it falls, then it has a kind of vibration here.
Yeah.
You have this kind of vibration. So still vibration. But make sure there is a significant displacement from a fixed position because everything is vibrating. For example, I'm vibrating right now, but it's not noticeable actually. So when you give me example, let it be something which is noticeably vibrating, please.
I'm not sure, but I think like the spring. A spring.
A spring is actually a typical example.
Your phone, when it rings.
Yeah,
Of course.
of course. It vibrates, right? But it should displace actually somehow. But if my phone is here, it may vibrate. But it should have displacement actually, noticeable displacement. But for example, spring mass system, if there is mass object and if you are applying a force to this direction, then it goes until there is a marked vibration to the left, and to the right. You can measure that displacement, which is actually very noticeable. You can also use a vertical spring system. That's a very good example. Please.
Alarm.
Yeah. Sound itself is a vibration. Vibratory. Okay. So let me recap the vibratory motion. The typical examples are pendulum. Is a typical example because it is a 2-in-4 motion. Spring mass system, or anything actually suspended from a spring, from a ceiling. Any object suspended and released can be a good example of vibratory motion. Of course, basketball bouncing actually is a 2-in-4 motion because there is a marked displacement from a point. Yeah, so there is this, but even if it is actually declining, from time to time, the vibration is actually is having a small displacement because of the energy is dissipating as a sound and a heat. That's why it's not vibrating in a fixed position because the energy is dissipating as a sound and as a heat. Okay, so these are the 4 types of motion that you need to know. Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. So let you take a note, small note, so can you take your exercise, please? Then after we write the note, then